This is the FlipNerd.com Expert Real Estate Investing Show, the show for real estate investors, whether you're a veteran or brand new. I'm your host, Mike Hambright, and each week I bring you a new expert guest that will share their knowledge and lessons with you. If you're excited about real estate investing, believe in personal responsibility, and taking control of your life and financial destiny, you're in the right place. This is episode number 312, and my guest today is Mark Evans, DM. Mark is the deal maker, if you don't know. If you're new to real estate investing, or if you're currently operating but want to take your business to the next level, you do not want to miss this show. Mark really started with nothing. He's going to tell us his story and has built up a successful business doing hundreds of deals a year. But that's not to impress you. Most of what we're going to talk about today is how he's built a business that allows him to enjoy his life, travel, spend time with family, all those things that we all want. None of us got into real estate investing with the dream of working more or being a slave to our own business. And today, Mark and I talk about how to prepare yourself mentally to build a business that serves you, not the other way around. To build a business that allows you to live the life that you want to live. So please help me welcome Mark Evans, DM, to the show. Mark, welcome to the show, my friend.
Hey, thank you, Mike, for having me, buddy.
Yeah. Good to see you. We know we've been talking a couple times lately, and I've really been excited to get to know you a little bit better because I know we run in a lot of the same circles, and everything you do is pretty impressive that I've seen, and I'm excited to share you with our subscribers on FlipNerd today too.
Awesome, man. Like I said, thank you for having me, Mike.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about who you are, and tell us what DM means. Everywhere your name is, it says Mark Evans DM. Demystify that for us.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So real quick, I'll get that out of the way. For the beginning, it meant dream maker to my mother, and really to the world, it means deal maker. So yeah. In real estate and business in general, you better be a deal maker if you want to make money. So
that's right.
Kind of just added that to my name. You know, just a small town boy, Mike, like you were asking, like kind of where I come from is like, you know, I grew up in a small town, hour east of Columbus, Ohio, 666 people, no cops, no stoplights kind of thing, country boy. Just laying in bed, watching lifestyles of the rich and famous, trying to figure out, you know, how to make money and how to get rich.
Yeah.
And for a non-smart kid, I was not smart, barely, you know, I grew up in a trailer court till I was 10 years old. My parents still live in the same house after I was 10 years old today. Just my parents have been together actually 39 years, which is pretty awesome.
That's awesome, yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, great country, you know, just good people and working hard every single day. And they bought into the belief the harder you work, the more you make. But unfortunately, they just keep working hard to work hard. The only time I really saw my parents fight, Mike, is over money. So I just always would remember, like, you know, I hated seeing them struggle financially, hated to hear them talk about money all the time, and just said, you know, how do I get rich? And whatever that meant back then. Back then, it was probably like make $100,000 a year.
Yeah.
So just trying to figure that out and trying to change the environment. And I barely graduated high school with a 1.8, not bragging, just telling the truth. But never had college in the plans. It wasn't even on my thought process ever. It truly was not in my plans at all. So I never went to college, but I always had kind of like an entrepreneur spark or spirit, if you will, where, you know, I would do lawn care and I'd hire my buddies to do the work and I'd collect half the money, give them half. But I could do 4 lawns instead of 1 lawn and, you know, stuff like that. So kind of had that thought process early, like in my early teens. So paper routes, you know, anything I could do. Hire my friends.
I was the same way.
Yeah. So I think a lot of guys like us, right? We've run across that. We've always kind of had the entrepreneur spirit. So we've been tapped on the shoulder, if you will. But for me, it's kind of, you know, laying in bed. I went to a seminar one time and saw a TV infomercial, went to a seminar and saw the guy make a phone call, Mike. I swear to you, I'm not even exaggerating.
Yep.
I was sitting in the front of the room. There's about 65 people in the room. I saw this guy call. This is newspaper days, not internet days.
Right.
He picked up the newspaper and said, we're going to call this seller, called this person and says for sale by owner. And I saw the lady's like, yes, I'll sell my house and like literally practically give it away. Yeah. And I was like, I can do that.
Yeah.
Like I had no money, I had no credit, I had no life, I had no job. I'm 18 years old.
Wow.
And literally I'm like, oh my God, I can do that. There was a lot of other people in that room that were way older than me that had other options, that had other jobs, very comfortable, a lot of them. And I knew darn well that they're not going to go out there and implement. So I just went out there and did it. I mean, that's really how I got started.
That's interesting. So how old were you when you did your first deal?
18 years old.
18. Wow, that's
Yeah.
awesome. And so, what was how did real estate? I mean, was an infomercial that brought you in, or how did? I'm always interested to hear how people like. How did you get into real estate? Like,
Yeah.
what made that happen?
So I've never actually had a real job in a corporate world ever in my life. So at 18 years old, 2 days after I graduated high school, I went and found a seamless gutter company, like gutters that go to fascia, collector water. There was a guy in my hometown, the truck was parked there. It's a 1978 Ford E350, a big bread truck. And I just knocked on his door and said, hey, my uncle's interested in your company. My uncle, it was me. I was making that up. I'm like, why would he listen to a snotty-nosed brat kid and myself? And literally, his name was Larry, super awesome guy. He's like, yeah, I got a bad car wreck. I can't climb ladders. I want to sell it. So I bought the company with zero money down, $287 a month. I still can't believe he did it, but I'm glad he did. But it takes balls. You got to step up and, you just never know.
Yeah.
So I did that. He could have said no as easy as he said yes. And I went out and I was doing jobs for people, and everyone I was talking to, they're pulling up in their Porsche smoking cigars. And I'm like, what do you guys do? And they're cutting me, paying me and on the spot. And everyone's like, real estate investor. And again, I'm not that smart, but if 5 guys tell you the same thing and they're all driving nice cars and they can do what they want on their own schedule, they're in shorts and flip flops, I'm like, I want to be a real estate investor, whatever that meant at that time.
Right. Yeah. It's interesting because a lot of people, because of what we do, we know there's a ton of people that are interested in what we do, right? And investing. And I know that's what we're going to talk about today is kind of building your real estate investing business. And in the back half of the show, the Taking Action segment, I know you're going to give some kind of go deep on what people should be thinking about how to build their business. And I think we talked a little bit beforehand, and I think this is going to be an interesting show for those that are listening because, a lot of people end up tying their goals to what somebody else's objective or agenda is, right? You see somebody else. I mean, you even said it yourself. You saw that and you're like, I want that. And I think a lot of people do that. But ultimately, it comes down to what do you really want in your heart? What do you really want in your life? Because there's some negative things that come with tying yourself to somebody else's goals, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Mike, I want 6-pack abs, but I don't have the dedication and the drive to do it. I want it. But, will I do the work to take to get it? The answer is no. Right. I'd have it.
Right.
Real simple.
Right. Yeah. So we're going to talk about kind of building up your business. And there's a number of things I think we're going to cover from the people that, want what you have or what they see other people have. They want something big, but they never get out of their own way of just being a one-man shop and can never you create a job for yourself to the people that maybe have a great business, but it's just never enough and they never can be happy because they just want to grow forever and they have some issues there too. So how do we get this started? How do we get started talking about like how to build a business?
Well, I mean, I think first and foremost, kind of what you're saying is like asking yourself, what do you really want? Yeah. Right. What does the business, like a business to you and I and the person watching this could be way different. And Absolutely. For me, it might mean I want to make $5,000 a month doing nothing. To someone else, it might mean I want to make $10 million. The world knows my name. If I walk into a store, people want my autograph. I mean, there's so many different levels of business of what do you want? Yep. And that's when my life changed is when I really said, this is what the hell I really want out of my life and my business. They're 2 separate pieces, by the way, but they kind of integrate together just a tad. So in the beginning stages, just asking these questions that allow you to percolate. A lot of times people could go out there and say, hey, I want this, but all their actions are taking them down the different path. Yeah. Yeah. And I see that all the time.
And the interesting thing is that because we've had this conversation before, the interesting thing that a lot of people might surprise a lot of people is because you said it and I told you, like I said that same thing to my wife last night, is that for me, even though I'm in everything I do is real estate, everybody knows me as a real estate guy, everybody knows you as a real estate guy. It's interesting because we think the same way that just happens to be the kind of vehicle that we've chosen, the widget we've chosen, but it's ultimately not about the real estate, right?
Dude, listen, it's a business. This is the difference. This is the difference with talking about real estate investing, teaching techniques and strategies, wholesaling, retailing, blah, blah. Like that's all just a technique inside of real estate investing. Right. But business building and real estate investing, they're 2 totally separate pieces. Like you said, we're just using real estate as our widget / product to get out to the marketplace. The good news is if we're in real estate, the profit margins are pretty big. It's not like we're selling a pen and making 23 cents. Maybe it would be smarter too, by the way, if we did have shorter margins. Yeah. And we take it a little more serious. But, at the end of the day, like real estate, I mean, you can pop off 10 grand in a deal. So it's so easy to make. Right. When I see people say, oh my God, I wish I could make 10 grand. Like to make $10,000 a day, week, month in this business is so darn easy. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's real.
And a lot of it comes back to knowing what you want, right? If you, a lot of times I think people set the bar artificially, like in their mind, they want something big, but they act like they want something low, right? They kind of self-sabotage, right? It's time for a quick announcement. We'll be back to the show in less than 30 seconds. PassiveRental.com is your source for turnkey, done-for-you rental properties. If you'd like to be an investor and not a landlord, please visit PassiveRental.com to learn how to purchase cash-flowing, professionally managed rental properties in the hottest rental markets across the country. We can also help connect you with financing for your next property. Invest the easy way today and get started by visiting PassiveRental.com. Like in their mind, they want something big, but they act like they want something low, right? They kind of self-sabotage, right?
Well, it's not self-sabotaging. What it is really it's a defensive mechanism. So when they go out there and they actually suck in the marketplace, they can say, well, I knew that wasn't for me. Oh, it's too hard. If I had money, I could do, like, it allows them to be lower level than what they're really capable of doing.
Right.
Right. It's like, go to any gym, Mike, in the country and watch that guy that's pushing up 400 pounds or 300 pounds bench pressing or whatever. And then watch the guy beside him that's doing 80 pounds, 85,000 times in reps. The truth is he could probably do more weight, but he's just comfortable. He's comfortable pushing up that 80 pounds 100 times over.
Right.
The guy stretching himself, that could fail, by the way, right? Because he's at that one thing and he gets at 300 and all of a sudden he's like, this is real now. Now all of a sudden he could fail. In my eyes, though, you and I, as business, we fail. Every single hour I'm failing on something.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
It all depends how you use it.
What your, I don't even know what your conversions are. We don't have to kind of get deep there, but truthfully, most real estate investors that are optimized and running well are closing, maybe 5% of the leads they get or some small number, right? So obviously the majority of houses you look at, the majority of offers you make don't get accepted. And I think we kind of accept that early on. It's like, hey man, let's fail as fast as we can because there's going to be some wins in there. It's kind of like, I'm just thinking of this out loud here. It's like if you watch any of those gold mining shows, I mean, they're cranking through like massive amounts of dirt to get to a couple little nuggets, right? And that's real estate's kind of similar to that.
Well, any business is similar to that. Yeah. Like if you think you're for everybody, you're nobody. I promise you that. If you think you're looking for 100% conversion rate, you're living in fantasy land, and you're not. First of all, you're not talking to enough people if you get 100% conversion rate.
Yeah.
Not only that, too, Mike. I look at the business a little bit differently as well. I don't make offers. My team does not make offers on properties. We don't make offers ever. We're going to a marketplace to serve the market. We're there to answer questions and guide them down the path and give them options and give them, solutions to their problems. So if the solution is sell it to us at X and we can make that number work, we'll do it. If we can't, we'll give them a couple of different alternative solutions, and we want the best for them. So we're going in it with the intentions of, we know that the massive population is not for us, but we can still help them, we can still serve them, and we can still give them guidance. And then knowing that this is an abundance mentality thing as well, where I see a lot of investors fail is like, they're like, oh my God, if I don't do this deal, I can't pay my bills.
Right.
Well, if you're approaching the world like that, you're always playing scared. You're always playing small. You're always protecting the downside, not looking at the upside.
Yep. Yeah. And the other thing that I've seen when people have that mentality, one, you're not serving the person, because I agree with the same thing. If you go out there and you're like, I'm going to serve this person, I'm going to try to help them, whether it means I buy the house or not, then good things come out of that over time, right? Yeah. And you can do that over and over and over again because you're going into it with an abundance mentality. But the other thing is if you're like, I've got to get this deal, then you get stupid and you overpay for it and you make mistakes and because you're so worried about not getting the deal that you just you make bad decisions.
Yeah, we always talk. Everyone in real estate talks about motivated sellers. As you know, Mike, there's really motivated buyers out there too. I am a motivated buyer. I'm not a stupid buyer, but I am I know in business, if I buy more product and I sell it, guess what I do? I make more money.
Right.
So I'm motivated to buy. So if you bring a deal and it's a great deal, we buy it. If it's not a great deal, we say, hey, we can't buy it. Here's where we need to be. If it works, great. If not, cool. Sell it to someone else. But like real buyers want to buy.
Right.
That's how we make money.
Yeah. Well, Mark, we were talking beforehand about, let's talk about kind of the importance of, and kind of how people can determine what they want. I know that sounds kind of funny, like people should just know what they want, but that's a hard decision sometimes to really say, here's what I want. And, maybe talk a little bit about setting unrealistic goals so that you can shoot high, but realistic enough to where you don't get demotivated if you don't kind of get there right away.
Yeah, well, I think the thing is, I think everyone sets very realistic goals, even though they think it's unrealistic, because again, who are you hanging out with and who's setting goals with you, or who are you trying to mirror or mimic? If I call it I don't know what words I can use here, but I call it king of the DS mentality, dipshit mentality. So if you're hanging out and everyone's making $100,000 and you're balling in at 150, you're the king of the group. Like they're looking at you like, oh my God, Mike's the most amazing guy in the world. And in your head, you're like, I'm not doing that much, but actually I kind of am. And then you start comparing to those guys or gals. And these are probably the closest people your friends, your family, people you care about the most. So what happens, you start having that internal battle with your head saying, be grateful for what you have. You're working hard. You start saying all these words to yourself, and then all of a sudden you start settling. And then all of a sudden you're like, well, if I made 200,000, that's a realistic but unrealistic goal, and no one can get hurt if I still make 150. I'm still amazing. But then in my world, like if you make my Amex bill's more than $200,000 a month, so it's like if I only made $200,000 in a year, I'm in massive trouble, right? So I'm looking at this saying, okay, who are we comparing against? And I'm not saying it's a number. It doesn't have to be a number, but like I'm saying lifestyle. Like look, like what do I really want? Because when you say that, Mike, people are like, I want money. Everyone wants money, but what does that mean?
What are you going to do with it?
Yeah, what are you going to do with it? How much do you need? They don't even have a definition. Well, if I had $1 million. What is $1 million? That's like nothing in today's world. Yeah. And if it's only $1 million and that's it, like you're going to burn through that money in no time flat. Right. So it's like, okay, how can I create something that will create me residual income without me being present, without me, me traveling the world doing whatever I'm doing and all these things. And, and truth part of that, Mike, is I kind of like forced myself to do this because my wife and I traveled the world for 7 years. And I love traveling so much. Like my first month was scary as all get out. But once I started traveling and started understanding, like letting go of problems, letting things happen, I started really, sitting on the beach in South Beach saying, wow, this is a pretty amazing life. I'm still making money. I'm still serving, people and like pushing the boundaries and really what's possible. I don't think we put ourselves in these situations that allow us to elevate our game.
Yeah, it's funny because I don't travel as much as you. We travel quite a bit, and we tend to do more deals when I'm gone. Mm-hmm. It's the weirdest thing, but it's like my team kind of knows, hey, we need to get this done. It's like a joke now. They're like, well, you need to leave more often. It's like, okay, well, sounds good to me.
Yeah, I'm thinking, why aren't you? But yeah, so true story is I have a small mastermind group, and the guys that come when we do events, we're actually getting ready to do one in Italy here at the end of the month of September. But like they'll come there, and literally, I'm telling you, every single time they close more deals, like you're saying. Yeah. Because again, we do that. Like that's what we do. And what if we could do that consciously every single week? Right. And what I've realized is that we can. It's just we don't force ourselves or position ourselves to do that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Mark, I got a quick question for you that came off of Twitter from Tom. Okay. And we'll see if you can answer this one for us. This is going to be a good one for you. What is your single best piece of advice for someone starting with zero experience?
Well, first of all, I don't think anyone has zero experience in anything. It's like coming out of the womb with like, holy cow, let's go. Let's do deals. I don't think that anybody's in that case. Again, I don't think people give themselves enough credit for what their capabilities are. You either have resources or your resourcefulness. So I'd start asking myself, what's my unique ability, if you will? Am I great at sales? Am I great at phone calls? Am I great at, emailing? Am I great at face, chest to chest selling? Am I great at, engineering? What are you great at? And then find someone that sucks at what you're great at and vice versa. And don't partner, but connect with and then value at each other and make money together.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. I think a lot of people don't realize that until they get into real estate investing. Is because I would say, basically, it's your experiences outside of real estate that can carry you far in real estate, right? It's like your ability to build relationships, your ability to do deals and negotiate, like raise money, a lot of things like that they're kind of some common fundamental traits that a lot of people have that they just don't really know they just don't know yet how to apply them into real estate.
Well, listen, there's nothing to the truth is, Mike, there's nothing to apply. I think the problem is they're looking at it wrong. They're looking at it like, oh my God, I can make money, so there must be a different application process. The application is just get your butt out there and do the work.
Right.
Like if you're going to find a girl or a guy and you're trying to go on a date, you don't sit in your house and do nothing. You actually get out of the house and you go walk up and talk to people.
Right.
The concept is very simple. And it's like real estate is like go there and solve a problem. Like, and Mike, I could go on and on about this, but like I don't think anybody who's out there telling you quit your job. I tell many people every day to quit their job. Who's out there telling you you're worth more than you're allowing yourself to be worth more? I don't care if you're making $100,000 a year, $10,000 a year, $5 million a year, $100 million a year. Like you can make more and do more. And it's not about making, but it's about doing more with what you make at that level. So there's a lot of different things. Like who's telling you? But I would ask that person is Tom. Who's telling you you have zero skill sets or 0x or whatever that is? Like zero experience. Like you have lots of experience. It's called life experiences.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I think in my experience, I know we have a little bit different models about how we buy houses, but when you meet with sellers, you're ultimately meeting with people that you need to be able to relate to, right? And when you come in and you're like all business minded, like I have something to accomplish here, then that's where you get into trouble. But if you just come in and just talk to people, build relationships, build rapport, then that's where things kind of break down and say, well, how can I help you? Here's what we can do to help you, right? So it's a very fundamental skill of just being able to relate to people and help solve problems.
Yeah, it's true, Mike. I think a lot of people aren't trying to do it, but I think there's a lot of selfish people out there in this world.
Yeah.
Like if you're going there just to make money, they're always saying win-win solutions. No, it's not. It's lopsided, and you're stealing from the marketplace, including yourself. So like if you're going there, like you're saying, to serve that prospect or client, the good news is you don't have to even meet people in person. I haven't been to a house since December 31st, 05. I haven't been to closing since December 31st, 05. I mean, none of this. So it's like you can do the same exact thing we're doing. Mike, you and I've never met in person.
Yeah.
We're talking, we've connected, different levels, not even just, personal, but like business back and forth. So the communication levels have really changed, and it's all value driven.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I want to jump into the taking action segment here in just a second, but before we dive into the part 2 of the show, why don't you talk about maybe a little bit about just team building, the importance of, whatever your goals are. Let's say this. When people are listening to this and we're talking about what are your goals, people start thinking about it. I can promise you one thing that nobody's goal is, and that is I want to work more, right? So I think the problem is a lot of real estate investors get in a situation where they're the ones doing all the work.
Yeah. Well, the reason is because, again, they don't have good management skills. I'm included in that. We're not born with management skills, right?
Yeah.
We manage expectations, financial stuff, blah, 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 blah. So I would say for me, you have to let problems happen. There's great books out there in this space, through Traction, Let Go of the Vine. There's problems right now, Mike. I mean, we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pieces moving every day.
Yeah.
There's problems going on right now as I'm talking to you that if I jumped in, I could probably solve quicker, easier, smoother, cost me less money. But like if I constantly do that, I wouldn't be able to even do this interview because I would be in my business, not on my business.
Yep.
So, you have to just start thinking business building. If you're sitting here watching this and you read 35,000 different ways to do real estate and this and that, you're probably educated up enough where you need to, and you're doing deals. Like now we have to start talking about building a business.
Yeah.
And that means hiring people. That means firing people. That means, paying people maybe more money than you're even making today, right? There's a guy I talked to yesterday, Dave is his name. He literally was making $80,000 a year at his job. He came to me, he's like, what do I do? I was like, you got to hire these 2 people, these 3 people. And now he's paying more money in salaries and commissions than he was making in his own internal job every year. So it's a mental thing.
Yeah,
it's like
absolutely.
freaking him out. He's like, oh my God, this is a lot of money. And I'm like, yeah, but you're making $1 million a year now. You're not making 80,000. So There's a lot of people playing at the $80,000 level, trying to figure out how to get to $1 million, but they don't have that mindset to get to that next level.
Yeah.
So you have to just kind of like say, okay, hire an assistant, hire a deal coordinator. Guys like you and I, Mike, I don't know how you are, but like, I don't know any great sales guy that's great at paperwork at all.
Right.
Like we'll do anything but paperwork.
Yep.
Even if it's our signature, like for some reason we avoid it like the plague. So it's like, get your business so boring that it doesn't need you to be a part of it. Yep. Right. We have the Superman effect. We jump in, we make things happen. Boom. We make $5,000. Everyone's happy. Yay. Next week, it's riding that emotional roller coaster, emotional and financial. So how do we get out of that? And Mike, I hope I answer your question. I think the thing is What do you want? What are your unique abilities? And let's hire someone that's not, I see a lot of people spend time on their weaknesses. I spend zero time on my weaknesses. Yeah. I hire people on my weaknesses and allow me to elevate my game and what I'm good at.
That's awesome. Well, let's jump into the Taking Action segment here. Thanks for joining us up to this point in the show. The second half of our show is restricted to only FlipNerd Pro and Elite members and only accessible on FlipNerd.com. If you're not a Pro or Elite member yet, you can upgrade your account in about 1 minute by visiting FlipNerd.com/upgrade. Depending on membership level, you'll get access to off-market properties real time, including real-time email and text alerts for new properties listed in your market. You'll get access to hundreds of full-length expert interviews, and Elite members get access to the FlipNerd Lab, which includes detailed masterclass trainings, 2 live webinars a month where you can interact with leaders in the industry, and access to our Elite Mastermind group, where you can interact with hundreds of the top real estate investors in America. Build relationships with those that are actually operating successful real estate investing businesses. By visiting FlipNerd.com/upgrade, you'll learn much more about our membership options. And once you've upgraded your membership, come on back and listen to the rest of this show. Wish you could watch or listen to more FlipNerd.com shows? You can. As a premium member, you can get access to the full length of hundreds of past shows at FlipNerd.com/shows. Or hear us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, or Google Play. While you're there, please subscribe so you don't miss another episode. And if you like what you hear, we'd really love a positive review. It's the ultimate high five for us. Show us some love by subscribing and giving us a great review today.